Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Om Akhanda Mangalakaram Vyaptamena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayana Namo Namaha. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on the question about the Atma. What is the Atma? What is freedom? And many other related ideas. So to continue forward, the Vivek Chudamani is one of the best scriptures that really allows us to recognize the path to realize the Atma, the understanding to realize the Atma. And when we use the word Atma, the way that is conceptualized is Atma is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Three things, composite. Sat meaning truth, that is what is actually the reality. That is the self. If I ask myself, who am I? So the actual answer Vedanta gives is that I am a divine being. I am a spiritual being. I am this true Satya Atma. I am a being that is eternally present, that is filled with joy, that is Ananda. And Chit meaning consciousness. Consciousness meaning that sense of existence, being alive. Existence is Sat also. And then consciousness is our sense of being alive. So what is the difference between Sat and Chit? There's not really any difference. It's all part of the same truth. But we can put it this way, Sat means existence. That something exists. Well, what exists? The spiritual element, the spiritual Atma. The Atma that is not male or female, rich or poor, young or old. It doesn't have a body as such. It is Nirakara Brahma. It is Nirakar Akshar. It is Nirakar. It is a formless substance. So it is a divinity. What it actually is a matter of realization. So to get to that realization of the Atma, and then the Paramatma that resides within the Atma, that is a further realization. To get to all of that, we need to get to that type of life, that stage of realization, where we are not torn apart by the three gunas of Maya. The three gunas of Maya are the major bondages, Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. And the mind, and the desires within the mind, the experiences within the mind, keep the Jivatma bound again and again, lifetime after lifetime. So in life there are obviously so many difficulties that come, whatever they might be. Everyone has their own. So I want to try to present verse number 24 in relation to this bigger question, how to deal with all these life's problems, whatever they are. Many people have physical health issues. Some people have psychological, psychiatric issues. They have addiction problems. They have mental health problems, relationship problems. So many. There's no end to all that. If you make a list, there will be no end to all this list of difficulties. So Adi Shankaracharya ji is giving us a direct answer to this basic question. How to deal with all of life's problems. The answer is right here. And I'm going to try, through the grace of the Gurus and the grace of Paramatma, that he gives me the wisdom to try to explain this. Because this is this is a constant question. Something goes wrong, somebody has passed away, we have lost something, or there is something not completely balanced, whatever. Changes keep happening. So to begin to understand the answer in verse number 24, the first fact that needs to be so clear meaning that is part of Gyan. It's like you are so sure, you are clear that everything is temporary. Now we know that. We have been saying that for so many years. Everybody knows that. But we know it like as an intellectual thing to some extent. We haven't internalized that fact. When we internalize that everything is temporary, that it is a flux, it is changing. All of reality is changing. All the people are changing. All life circumstances are changing. Our body is changing, and this body that Sachin is speaking with will also go one day. So if I stay with that truth, staying with that truth is Guru Krupa. Guru Krupa is what, after all? People say, Sant ki Krupa, Bhagwan ki Krupa, Guru ki Krupa honi chahiye. Sure, Krupa is actually always there. It's not like it's not there. But when we hold on to that and say, oh, I can see that everything is a flux, then that's a meditative vision that allows us to do what Shankaracharya ji is saying here in the very first part of verse number 24. He says, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. See? Endure, tolerate, be steady. Now, these dukkhas, so many dukkhas are there. We feel dukh, right? Isn't it so? Physical pain, psychological pain, relationship pain, grief, loss, pain, whatever. The difficulties of life circumstances, whatever they are for each person, they're different for everybody. But there's a lot of commonality too. Look at the language he's using, and I'm speaking this for myself more than anybody else. The first word is sahanam. Sahanam means to hold on, to tolerate. Don't disturb the internal power, internal energy because of dukh that comes. Dukh is going to come in many ways in life, unfortunately. It does come because we're in this sansar. Sukh and dukh both are there. So right now he's talking about dukkha. And what is dukh actually? Dukh is that sense that, oh my God, this is bad. You feel, it's an emotional and physical feeling of uneasiness. It's a painful feeling. We know what is dukh experientially. Like people, for example, have these investments in these stock markets. When those stock markets numbers begin to shift, they start feeling the dukh. Oh my God, I lost this much money. This happened, that happened. And then if it goes up, you feel sukh, dukh. That's one example. Same thing with family. Things are going well with family. Okay, everything is good. Things are not going well. Oh, there's dukh. Right? Of course, nobody wants dukkha. What we want is sukha all the time. And we are trying for that, no doubt. But it doesn't happen that way. Because even if we get what we want completely, that's sukha. That sukha is temporary. Then we want some enhanced version of it. We want something different from that, some greater version of it. And it goes on like that. This is the nature of the mind. That's why Shankaracharya ji said, Jitam Jagat Kena Manohiyena. This verse is in Vachanamrut, Sarangpur number 1. Who has won the world? One who has won the mind. But you cannot win the mind until we understand the mind and see that the mind is never satisfied with anything. Even if it gets what it wants, Sachin gets what he wants, perfectly the way he wants it, everything is available, everything is there. So then what happens? Now you want to do something else. And many times the actions we take sabotage the development we have made. That happens in life. You come to a certain stage, and you're not satisfied with it, not happy with it, or you're maybe satisfied temporarily. They say, oh, now let me do something more. And then that something more could be very risky. It could be unnecessary. But it is done because the mind is looking for some experience further than what is already available. And I'm not trying to say that we should not progress in life. Yes, we can progress in life. We should progress in life, but we should not progress in a way that damages our happiness, that damages sukha. If we have sukh in life, then try to maintain that. But not to damage it so that generates dukkha. See, if we lose something that we have obtained, we are unhappy. Isn't it so? Ask about anything. We have gotten something, maybe some object, maybe a position, maybe some relationship, whatever. In this sansar, we obtain something. And if we lose it, or if we partially even lose it, we're unhappy. So we don't want that unhappiness. So what is a practical thing to do? Okay, try to maximize sukha. Fine. But maximize it in a way that doesn't generate dukkha. Is that possible? Is it possible? Well, if you really examine carefully, I'll tell you what's possible here. You can try to increase sukha to some extent, but then you have to realize, each person has to realize, if I increase it a bit further, then I'm at that certain point where that sukh will not generate dukh. You see, this is the problem. Take eating a very delicious meal. We talked about this before. Very easy to understand. If I'm really hungry, I can eat a very delicious meal, very nice. But at some point, there's a satisfaction, and that's it. But if I say, no, I really like it so much, let me stuff some more, let me eat some more of this food, then eventually there's an imbalance that is going to generate dukkha. So sukha, in its maximum potentiality, is within a certain range. That's what, take example of relationships. We have so many relationships. Relationships remain very good when they are relatively limited, when there is not over-involvement, when there is love and affection and care, and we do not enter into somebody else's ignorance, and they don't enter into ours. Then the relationship is a very good one, and the basis of the relationship is love, affection, care, all that. The moment we get too close to anybody, whatever is inside their agnan that is there, that will start coming inside of us also. That's why we say, Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakya. We don't want to be connected with other people's agnan, other people's sorrow, suffering. We want sensitivity, love, affection, care. Fine. For example, if you see a poor person, you can bless them, you can wish good for them, you can do so many good things, serve them, etc. But you don't want to resonate with poverty. See, this is a practical thing in life. What we don't want, we should not resonate with. What we want to resonate with. That's the law of attraction idea. Right now, okay, so I hope that's clear. Now, if we come to that point, or when we come to that type of life, then whatever dukh may come is where this actually begins. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. I hope that connection is clear. If anybody listening to this in the future sometime, just ask me about it further and I can clarify it further if it's not clear. This is a very critical thing to understand. Take our physical body. Our physical body has to be healthy. Our physical body should be pain-free, disease-free. And that's true with our relationships, and that's true with every aspect of our life. We don't want problems in relationships, problems in our diet. We don't want problems in any area. Who wants them? Why should we have them? So that's why medical science and every area of development is there. The question for each human being is to recognize how to maximize sukh without generating dukh. See this question carefully. It's a very careful question. How to maximize sukha without generating dukkha. Meaning what? In every action Sachin takes, is that action taken with this criteria that what the action I'm taking is good for me, is healthy for me, it's sukha? Is it in any way generating dukkha? I have to ask myself. And asking that question will allow all of us to live very happily and in a very stable and sane manner in this world. Otherwise, people are taking actions that do maximize sukha, or after a certain point the sukha increases, but hidden within that is dukkha, and dukkha is just going to follow along. So certain kinds of enjoyments and pleasures, once you try to increase them, like driving a car, let's say beyond a certain speed limit, it can be exhilarating, it can be thrilling, it can be exciting. And then you get away from it, and then you are weaving in, and a person is weaving in and out of traffic, and it's thrilling, and so they want to do it again and again. Is it sukh? Sure. Is it a heightened level of sukh? Yes. Sure. What is the potential dukkha in that? So much. Accidents, speeding tickets, loss of licensure. Then the other thing is the conditioning of the mind to try to increase that experience. So now one is not satisfied by driving the speed limit. I have to drive 80 miles an hour, otherwise, I'm not going to be okay with myself. I'm just giving this example. It's like that. This even happens in friend circles. I have to have so many friends. I have to go to so many parties. I have to do this and I have to do that. So many people should praise me, and so many things I have to do. We are, so this is called tolerance effect. The need to keep that higher level stimulation going all the time. And when that keeps going like that, that is 100% going to generate dukkha. So understanding of sukh, dukkha is a big thing in life. We say in Vedanta, okay, we should be, samatva, sukhe, dukkhe, same kritva, labha, labho, jaya, jo. Very easy for me to repeat this verse. Very easy for Sachin to repeat this beautiful verse, sahanam sarva dukkhanam, and go on with that, titiksha and all that thing. I can talk about it and repeat it and listen to saints and sages and give lectures on it, and so what? What's the big deal in that? Okay, it's good. It's an ability. It's an intellectual ability. It can be developed. So what? That by itself means nothing at all until and unless there is so much clarity inside of me that what is sukha, actually what is sukha, what is dukkha in life. And then from that tremendous clarity about the connection between sukh and dukkha, then what Adi Shankaracharya ji is asking us to do, he says sahanam, tolerate every form of dukkha that may come in your life. And what he hasn't said here, directly, but I'm putting my thoughts into this, that in life, yes, we are trying to maximize sukha, as I said, but be very attentive for that turning point of sukh turns into dukkha. That point has to be avoided, and that's the mastery of Shaiva Kashmiri Shaivism. Kashmiri Shaivism, or what is called non-dual Shaiva Tantra, it teaches us how to live in this world to maximize happiness and to be very aware of that dukkha point, because that dukkha point is where energy is damaged. That's the essence of the connection between Prakriti and the Purusha, between Prakriti and the Atma. We are living in the world of Prakriti, obviously. Who is not living in this world of Prakriti? Every saint who has come, even all the incarnations have come, everybody has lived within Prakriti. See, one of the points that Bhagwan Swaminarayan made, he says that Prakriti Purushottam Roop bani jaye. Meaning what? When you are enlightened, he's talking about himself in that state, that the Prakriti becomes divine. That is what the Brahma Vidya is about. That is what we are attempting to do. Why are we studying Vivek Chudamani and Gita and all these scriptures and Vachanamrita? That is all Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is where Prakriti merges into Akshara Brahma. The Mahamaya merges into the Paramatma itself. That is what these scriptures are about, like Vivek Chudamani. But before we can even dip our toe into these scriptures, actually, not just word-wise, actually to dip into the toe, Sachin has to be 100% totally clear in the mind what is sukh and what is dukkha. What my mind considers to be sukh may not be actually sukh. It has so much dukkha inside there. My desires are pushing me in 100 directions to maximize experiences, maximizing sukha. But that attempt is going to entrap the individual into the sukh-dukh cycle. And that entrapment into the sukh-dukh cycle is the cause of rebirth. One has to go beyond sukh and dukh. That is the Atma. Atma is beyond sukh and dukh. Atma is beyond all of the dualities. Atma is connected to the infinite Akshara Brahma. That is our actual goal. Our realization is that. It's beyond the dualities. Dvandatitam. The Dvandatit means what? Beyond. Beyond the duality. Atit in Sanskrit means beyond the dualities. So Shankaracharya ji is saying here, see, he's giving a total answer of living a life of enlightenment right here. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. Sarva dukh. Why he said sarva dukh? Why he didn't just say dukkha, sahanam dukkhanam? See the word sarva. Sarva means all. Endure, tolerate. Don't get overwhelmed by the dukkhas. Whatever, right now this Ukraine stuff is going on, all these problems. These things have been going on for since humanity has been here. Whenever that is. These wars and problems. What's new in this thing? Dictators and all this thing. So why to get overwhelmed by these things? Yes, when we put positive intention, good power, good energy, all that. If you can do something for the world, fine. Why an individual should damage their internal happiness because of the problems of this crazy world? You should not. There's no need to do that. So because if the goal is the Atma, one is not trying to find light in darkness. This world and the three gunas of Maya and everything that human beings are doing, for the most part, it is filled with the darkness of ignorance. 99.999%. Most, very, very rare souls can come out of this thing. It's just drowning inside the sansar. It's a bhavasagar. Bhavasam bhavabhiti vedanam sukha sampata karuna niketanam. When Bhagwan comes, Paramatma Sakshat comes, that wisdom, knowledge, and circumstances by the grace of God are available for us to awaken out of the sansar. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Bhagavad Gita. It says, be awake on the spirit, awaken this in this sense. One who is awakened in this, sahanam sarva dukkhanam. My God, what a beautiful life. That doesn't mean, people think that, see how the mind reacts. Well, okay, you're insensitive to others. No, there's sensitivity for all. Sarva jiva hitava. Wish good for all the time. But recognize the nature of this sansar. This sansar is trigunatmak. It is a prison for the jiva in the prison of Maya. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun. It is a jail. Doesn't matter how comfortable somebody might becomes in the jail. Doesn't matter how evolved they become in the jail. They're still in the jail. Shankaracharya ji, Ramanujacharya ji, Madhvacharya ji, Nimbarkacharya ji, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Ram, Bhagwan Shankar, all the forms of the goddess. Why they are there? All the great gurus. They are there to show the Jivatma how to come out of the jail. What people are doing in this sansar, they are trying to find constant ananda, pure happiness, by staying in this prison of Maya. And that's never going to happen. It doesn't matter. One might be a Chakravarti Raja, one might be be a trillionaire, one might be this or one might be that. It's not going to ever happen. It never has happened and it never will. Simply because that is not this place that has been created. It is an evolution of Prakriti, so we can go beyond it. It's not there so the person can get stuck in it. See, think of it this way. Somebody commits a crime, they go into jail for, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, some amount of time. What is the purpose of going inside that prison, putting that person inside there? So that they can eventually get out of it. The purpose of going into a prison is so you can get out of it, isn't it so? The purpose of putting somebody there is not really that they should be there for a whole lifetime, unless one has a lifetime sentence. So that's an exceptional thing. Similarly, this is the prison of Maya. Maya ka prison hai. That's why it's called Durga. It is called Durga, and Durga Devi is the deity in charge. She's in charge of this material jail. So when we say Durga, Om Durga Durga Rakshini, Tha Tha Swaha, when we worship Durga Devi, we are asking for her blessings so that all these people in this jail don't cause problems for us, and that our life becomes very, very stable, safe, harmonious, and then from that the realization of the Atma and Paramatma can happen. That's the connection. Otherwise, there's no end to any of this stuff. You see, so when he says Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam, and then the next word he says here, see, he says without struggle for redress or revenge. Pratikar, see, apratikara purvakam. Apratikara purvakam means that one who is not going to try to react in a way to harm others because of the dukh that we have. Sometimes mentally we do this. Mentally, sometimes a thought comes towards somebody that somebody has caused some trouble for us. So we, even physically or verbally, we may not do anything, but just mentally, just a thought might come towards somebody. And if that happens, then that is a violence from inside. So you see, all of that thing has to stop. That's what he says. He says here, Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. Apratikara. In Shikshapatri, Bhagavan Swaminarayan, he mentioned the same point. He told all of those saints and sages and all those people that at that time, and then of course in tradition today, he said, do not have any negative thought towards anybody, particularly those individuals who are causing problems. Like right now, all this Russia and Ukraine and all this is going on, right? So obviously so much violence and pain and suffering is there. But what can we do from inside? We can do, yes, you have to stand, sometimes you have to stand up for that which is, that which is the cause of righteousness. That's what the Gita is teaching. Gita's teaching is basically telling Arjuna to go and fight, but to fight with this understanding that is in Vedanta. So he's giving that Vedantic understanding, and with that understanding he continues his actions, and because it is a war going on in the prison. Within the prison of the Brahmand, the Jivatma has been placed there because of its connection with Mahamaya, and then the prisoners are fighting with each other. So what happens if there's a fight in the prison? Somebody has to go in there and stop that fight, win that fight. They have to figure it out somehow. That's the problem here. So all these great sages come, great incarnations come, sometimes very evolved individuals come, and they come to try to resolve the fight in the prison. See, I don't know that people realize that this entire sansar is a jail. It's a jail of Prakriti, Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. And Shankaracharya ji, what he's teaching us how to live this life until the body ends, so that we can evolve into the Atma, and then the sansar is completely out of the picture. We're out, permanently out. Look at the Bhagavad Gita verses. Sachin is not making these things up. What the Gita is saying, Asanga shastrena dridena chitva, asangatva, that is vairagya. Get the sansar, cut it out of the mind. Literally cut that upside down tree. All of the leaves and everything else, leaves of the tree, the banyan tree that is talked about, keep attention on the root. Then he also says inside there, in the Gita, again and again, it is stated, that yad gatvana nivartante. There's a verse like this, tad dhama paramam mama. You will go to that stage of realization, you'll not come back in this sansar. Nobody knows where's the beginning or end. Bhagavad Gita says there's no beginning or end to the sansar, chapter 15. There's no beginning or end. And we already know this from our life. How many people have come and gone in our own lives? Who remembers who? Maybe a little bit here and there. We should remember good things. We want good relationships. All that is okay. But in the bigger picture, nobody belongs to anybody. I mean, I saw my father pass away on August 19th or 18th, whatever date. Maybe it was August 26th last year. I was right there with him. What did he take with him? Not one thing. Even all of his clothes and other things were all packed up, and then they were given to me. And whole life people are running for what they're running for, and creating so much chaos and havoc. You see, so this knowledge and understanding needs to be there right from the beginning stage in life. So that why, number one, sukha can be maximized without dukkha. But if you, excuse me, the only way that I know that can happen is to keep sukha within a limited range, really see it for what it is and leave it alone. If I like a gulab jam, I say I like gulab jam or sweets. I'm not going to, I mean, my mind wants to just keep eating gulab jam, but how many I can eat? Food and all that is one thing, but every experience is like that. And then the second point is to absolutely minimize the dukkha by staying out of all of the trouble areas in life. Taking steps that are going to create more and more damage and trouble completely need to be stopped. And that's a very big realization. That's the second point. The third point is where this verse begins. The tolerance of whatever may come, then completely tolerate. Now, this is where the Durga Upasana comes into play, Durga Devi Upasana. When you start doing Chandi Path and doing the Navaran Mantra, all Devi Upasana, the devotee is protected from all kinds of afflictions. Shiv Shakti Upasana is a protection. The kavachas are there. There is the Argala Stotra, there is the Durga Kavach, there are so many Kavach Stotras. Kavach are what? Protections. So the Brahmand is filled with difficulty. But when we worship Durga Devi and Bhagwan Shankar, they protect us from massive problems inside this world. And but again, that is upasana, that is that type of bhakti. So that's fine. Now along with that, that is why we have Adi Shankaracharya ji, we have the great gurus, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, etc. We have them, they're showing us, teaching us, encouraging us to live a life of great endurance. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. How beautiful. No struggle against, but take the right steps with energy, with confidence, with wisdom, with realization. And here's the other biggest thing in life. As I see my own life, if I look at it very carefully, I can see that so many periods of dukkha that may have come or have come in the past, who is causing that? If I probe deeper and deeper, I will find that I'm the only cause, there's nobody else. There's actually nobody else. Because we think that somebody else is causing that. But we take steps in certain directions and certain things happen. So then our mind says, oh, this person did this or this person did that. Yeah, we may have some explanations, whatever. But ultimately, the cause of dukkha is you. It's like a person who bites his own tongue. So who is he going to blame? The teeth, the tongue? And then blood comes out. Who is he going to blame? You have to realize it's your own mind that is at fault here, because you are not paying attention to how you're eating too fast, getting too excited, etc. So sukh and dukh, a true realization of their connection, is foundational. It is the base upon which human suffering can actually end. All human suffering can be minimized. It may even end to a large extent if we can see the distinction between sukh and dukh very clearly. And along with that, when we tolerate dukh, you know what happens in our system? We don't waste any energy. This is a big teaching. When it says sahanam sarva dukkhanam, when we are in that state of tolerance, then wisdom comes, knowledge comes, grace comes. Energy damage stops, and then situations change again. See, this Prakriti is changing all the time. Nothing is stable all the time. Prakriti keeps changing. The seasons change, the temperatures change, everything is changing. So because it is changing, we can tolerate the change. Tolerance of the change is that sahanam. The word sahanam is to tolerate, to endure, to hold steady inside. Very powerful. Not just very powerful, it is totally powerful. Sarva dukkhanam. My God, how tremendous that is. If we are going to tolerate all of the difficulties that come, but those difficulties that we are not creating ourselves, that's the first thing to keep in mind. We have to stop creating difficulties that we are internally generating. And when we stop creating them, we conserve energy, then whatever dukkha is still remaining, that's what he's referring to here. This is my interpretation. But if we keep generating dukkha from inside, our own dukkha from inside, then we have to deal with that. Then we're trying to stop that, and it becomes even more difficult because we are the generator of that dukkha. We must stop generating dukkha. But to stop generating dukkha, realization has to be there. How am I doing that? Why am I doing that? What I'm looking for certain experiences in life that I think are happiness, but they are actually causing a lot of problems. So that complete process has to stop. Can you imagine what that would be like? Even to live 1 week without generating any self-created dukkha. Wow. Then that is it's a very open life. It's a very beautiful life. So we will continue this tomorrow further. There's a lot more, so we'll continue the rest of this verse in the next 2 days or so, and then we'll go a little bit further into this whole the next part of that. This is chinta vilapa rahitam, that state of worry, anxiety. This might happen, that might happen. Yes, we have to plan for the future. So I'm going to talk about that in detail tomorrow. So we'll stop this here today.